sound speeds. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I don't pull any punches with my reviewing of audio gear. I'm very direct and brutally honest where I need to be. Just like Lil Nitro here is going to be on my taste buds. I'm not looking forward to this at all, in case you're wondering. This little doodad may look cute, he's such a cute little gummy bear, but this little thing right here packs 9 million Scoville units of heat. Now, if you're not familiar with Scoville units, that is a measurement or unit of heat, and 16 million is the spiciest pure capsaicin thing that there is on the planet. Now, to give you an idea, a jalapeno measures in it around between about maybe 2,500 and about 8,000 Scoville units. This is 9 million. Now, I did try the Death Nuts before, and that measured in at 13 million Scoville units, and I did that on video. That was not easy. I was grabbing for water very quickly. After only a few minutes, I should say. Now, that is not an option to me on the table here today. I am completely removing everything of comfort, and I'm going to not only completely take my nerves, which are already very, very nerve-wracked. I mean, to give you an idea, I was supposed to be shooting this at about 9:30 this morning. Right now, it's 2:30 in the afternoon. I have literally sat here in this studio thinking about all day, what am I going to do? And I'm sure I've screwed up the lighting, I've screwed up everything. And then on top of everything else, I said, you know what? I should handicap myself and not give myself everything that I would really want to. And part of that's because I'm going to be using this space. And normally I have like a smaller little light that I use for detail, but I can't use that if I'm going to be doing overhead lighting and, well, not overhead lighting, the lighting that I have all over the place. And not only that, when I grabbed for this light earlier today, I come to find out that it has corrosion on it. So in the past couple of months since I built my last cable, it now has corrosion, which is wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead and get a new light. I'm not going to play with those acids. Now, I have also decided that in order to make this more fun, I'm going to build an XLR cable from scratch. I'm going to make an XLR cable right here before your eyes. And I have not done anything to prep. The only things I've done is I've unpackaged the XLR components, which is the EMC female connector I'm going to be using on one side and the male MX connector, also Neutrik, on the other side. Now, I have a cable completely ready to go, and I'm going to be making this cable because I basically have to. I'm going to be doing some changes to my studio here in the next few weeks, and that's going to involve rewiring. So I've got to make some cable sometime, don't I? Might as well do one while my nerves are completely shot and I've lost my ability to think, eating the world's spiciest gummy bear. Now, I've also decided to handicap myself ever so slightly by giving myself only 10 components here to worry about and to mess with, I should say. And I've decided to limit myself to my Weller WES51 soldering iron. And the little holder, I'm going to count as a separate thing. So I'm not even going to be using the sponge because I would consider that to be a separate thing too. But it's there. That's 2 things. 3 is a little knife, which this is not going to be a box cutter. And number 4, I'm using my gloves. Number 5, these wire cutters right there. Number 6 is, this is a little steel wool type stuff. It's used for cleaning solder off. 7, the solder itself. 8, the soldering little helping hand thing there. 9, some electrical tape, which I'm going to be using for the EMC connector, which helps with it. And 10, this little vice grip thing right here. Now, I'm going to be doing this while under the torture of the world's spiciest gummy bear. So because I'm not looking forward to it, I'm just going to go for it. Now, I do not have milk or anything here on the table for me to have. I'm just going to go for this. Now, if you're wondering why the gloves, it is so that way, oh, goody. It is so that way, since solder does have lead in it, I've gotten into the habit of doing it back a long time ago. I don't know if there's negative effects to touching solder, but I'm not going to run the risk of it. I'm going to go ahead and just use that right there. I use gloves. And so I don't have some components here that I normally use when I'm soldering. Anyway, there we go, right here, world's spiciest gummy bear. And I do have multiple cameras going here, so hopefully this is going to be somewhat entertaining for you. Now, I haven't eaten anything since a long time ago. I haven't even had any water, so I'm cotton mouth right now. My nerves are totally shot, and I'm not looking forward to doing this at all. So I'm not going to delay anymore. Let's go ahead and do this. Here we go. Okay, right now it's manageable. But, Oh God, no, 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 no. This was a mistake. Whew. Man, the flavor isn't even all that good. Okay, let's build this cable now. Oh, man. Oh, man. Sorry. Again, can't really have spicy stuffs. All right. It's my body trying to say, don't do this. Let's prep our cable. Now, normally I would do this, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna slowly use this. Oh man, that little dude head is no joke. Oh good, I've mixed the XLR's connectors together. Oh man. No going back though, right? Okay. Prepping the cable. Whew. Now, when you're doing XLRs, normally you would just have a total of 4, or total of 2. I've already messed up. You would normally only have a total of 2 little cables on the inside here to deal with. But me, I have 4. This is a star quad cable, which means that it has 2 pairs right there. So it has 2 white and 2 blue. The reason why is, normally an XLR has a ground, it has a positive, it has a negative. And those kind of negate each other a little bit to kind of reduce noise or RF interference, EMI, because the idea is that by having one side that is out of phase and one side that is in phase, it's oh man, I'm gonna have to cut this down. By having one that's out of phase and one that's in phase, if anything that doesn't cancel is going to be negated out because you have one that's starting over. Sweating. One that's positive and the one that's negative. I can't even think. I'm sorry. And so that way, if it encounters any kind of RFI or EMI, oh man, I can't even concentrate. I gotta do this. Pump through. Okay, I gotta leave at least a little bit of shielding. Oh man. Oh man. Okay, good. There's some shielding. That's right. Okay. So by leaving a little bit, it exposes the shielding. Okay. Okay, so you have a ground on an XLR, and you have a positive and you have a negative. The positive carries a in-phase signal. Negative carries the out-of-phase signal. Now, the difference is when you are taking a signal that's out of phase, it negates out the in phase. Man, I'm so shaky. Let's see if there's something a little more safe to use than the knife, because I'm going to cut myself. Oh, that's a little better. Okay. So if you have a positive phase and you have a negative phase, then it's going to basically cancel out the actual audio signal itself, meaning that any kind of interference that one side would affect and not the other would be reduced. And that's a terrible way of saying it. But basically, in a nutshell, the point here is that if you have a positive phase and you have a negative phase, they will cancel each other out audio-wise, that anything else that is not canceled is eliminated due to the XLR. So the audio is technically not canceled out. Whew. The audio is technically not canceled out while the EMI and RFI is to a certain degree. This is still very hot. It's just my tongue isn't spasming anymore. My nerves are still shaking too. So here, I should bring this over. Now I'm sweating. Isn't that wonderful? Okay. So let me try to at least detail this for you. What I'm doing is I'm separating this just a little bit, so that way I have shielding. Now, geez, my coordination is totally shot now. So you may be looking at this saying, okay, I know that you've already messed up because you haven't put the boot on before you're spreading this out. Well, I'm going to put the boots on before I do the other side. Geez, I should just get this thing done. Not the prettiest soldering, but it would at least tell a story, right? Normally I have I use the pick off of a multimeter, but I don't have that available to me because I've limited my options. Geez, I'm sweating like crazy. That little gummy bear was no joke. And to give you an idea, normally from start to finish, this only takes me about 10 minutes to do, one cable. So tonight, when I'm making all the rest of the cables and stuff, it should be a lot easier. But right now, my heart's no longer just feeling like it's going to spasm at any second, which is a good thing. I'm just going to try to get through this thing. Normally, I would separate this better. Cable's going to be so jacked up, and it's not up to my normal standards. But you know what? I'm just going to do it. Okay. Can barely move. All right, so there's this. Now I'm going to pull back the shielding cable, and I'm going to cut off this extra, the little string that's in the middle. I'm going to tear off some of that. This is one of the reasons why I wanted the detailed clippers there. The wire. Can't even talk. Wire cutters. Now, the reason why you would have star quad cable here versus a regular standard XLR where you would have just a ground and then you'd have two other cables there. The reason why is because star quad is better for reducing that effect, that EMI and RFI also, radio frequency interference and electromagnetic interference. And the reason why is that it spirals on the inside. You have four pieces that are like this, and they spiral around the string on the inside. And as it's doing that, it's basically putting the white and the blue on opposite sides of each other. So if the idea in theory is that EMI or RFI interference would affect one part of the cable and maybe not the other side, so that would help reduce it by cutting it in half. And by the nature of being an XLR, it should further reduce. Now, I'm also going to be, let's prep the other side, but first I'm going to go ahead and choose a side. And this side here is going to be my, let's make that the female. Let's make that the Neutrik EMC female. So I'm going to thread this on there this way, totally jacking up my shielding. I should have done this out of sequence. I shouldn't have done this. Honestly, I should have prepped this thing. That way I wasn't doing some of this stuff while totally in panic mode here. And now it's still very, very spicy, just so you know. It's still totally affecting my brain. I'm barely able to think, but just like that. I'm normally a lot neater when I solder than this. Okay. Send everything across the room. Okay. So this here is, if you notice, one of the differences between MX connectors and FX connectors, which is what the EMC is based on, is if you look at where the pins would come out, see over here, on the MX, it goes to threads versus the MX, which has threads on the inside. You see the difference is the threads are on the different side. That's one of the many changes, many differences. I'm going to start with the EMC because this end is already kind of prepped for it. It'll be easier just to throw together the other side. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, sorry, is I'm going to go ahead and use this. Oh man. And pull that aside. All right. Oops, let's get that in there. Come on now. Work with me, not against me. I've already have enough working against me. That little gummy bear, which is now, I can already tell you, it's like totally messing up my stomach. I really haven't eaten anything since a chicken biscuit this morning early. So I haven't had lunch. I haven't had anything really to eat. I haven't really had anything to drink. So this is practically on an empty stomach at this point, which is just wonderful. You can tell I'm starting to get a little bitter by the whole thing. Okay. My judgment is totally off. All right. So here is 2 blue being soldered together. Here is 2 white being soldered. Oh, not soldered together. These are being twist tied together. Okay, so this is at least prepped now. And I said I would use this side for the EMC. So what you would actually want to do is spread these out just a little bit and then you'll cut them back. But we'll do that in a moment. Let's step over here to the other side first. Other side of the cable, we'll come back to this. Now, because this is going to be doesn't need to be nearly as neat. Let's look. Hopefully this is turning out detailed enough. All right, so I'm separating all these little braided bits. Now, why don't I get a foil braid? I could get mogami cable and do it that way. Well, part of the reason is because the braid here, it actually helps to make the solders a little better in my opinion. It makes it a little bit easier. All right, so here's what I'm going to show you here. This first little thing. It's totally messed with my head. Notice I've split the 2 sides of solder in half. Or not the solder. Jeez, I can't even talk, guys. I'm so sorry. The shielding I have now split into 2 different sides, so that now I have split it into two parts. I have this side and this side. The reason why, it'll become apparent here in a second. I'll show you why. All right, let's take off this and we'll prep this cable on this side here. And yes, the burn is starting to die. Now, I'm still very much feeling the effects of it, even though my taste buds are no longer totally freaking out. It is extremely heartburnish at this time. My sinuses are still going crazy. My brain is not affected. It's not in good shape at all. Normally, I'm in a lot better mood when I do my videos, and I'm just going to apologize about that right now. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're going to prep this too. And And again, we're twisting together the white two little bitty cables on the inside. We'll also do the two blue ones. Because this is star quad, you have these two in there. Now, at this point, I'm going to turn on my soldering iron. Because what better thing to do with my nerves now than grab something hot? Okay, so this is now ready to go. It's all fully prepped. Now, this here is, I think it's called a helping hand. What this thing does is it holds things for you so that you can solder them correctly. Where is, oh, okay, I was about to say this thing is totally shot across the room now. So one of the things on the inside of the XLRs is you have, it'll say, I can't even hold my finger steady. Geez, if you notice over here, it says, I can't really see in the lighting here, because it actually is a lot dimmer in here than it looks on camera. Okay, good. I don't at this point want to totally screw up. Okay, so it says over here 1, that over there is 2, and the third is on the opposite end. So if you can remember the red, white, and blues in soldering, and by the way, I want to point out that when you look at it this way, the upper right is 1, upper left is 2, lower is 3. But when you reverse it now, watch 1, it's now switching sides, it's going over there. So notice that 1 is ground, white, and blue. Ground, white, and blue. What do you know? I'm about to mess something up. I'm grabbing the wrong end of the XLR, which I can't do. Because if I do that, then I'm going to totally mess up the whole boots. Because remember, these boots are different on both sides. So this is the side that matches my XLR. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, keeping in mind that with regards to my pins, ground is ground, white, and blue right there is the way you would look at that. So ground is going to be actually not having a ground at all. And then you have white over here and you have blue over there. So I'm going to actually start by doing something called pre-tinning. Or not really pre-tinning, I guess at this point. It would be more tinning. And the way I'll do that is I'm going to get a little bit of solder on top of the soldering iron, and I'm going to put it on the end of my cable. My nerves are slowly starting to recover, which is good timing. I'm still a little shaky, so my moves are probably not as smooth as you're used to seeing if you watch a soldering channel or if you watch me solder in person or anything like that, which I've done some of those. Okay. But what this is doing is it's basically adding a little bit of solder to the end of this. Now, if you're wondering, this is a solder that, I think I even got this back in the old Radio Shack era. When they were going out of business, I went ahead and bought a whole bunch of them because I actually thought the solder was not that bad. Now, the solder I'm using, is this Radio Shack? Yeah, it sure is. Look at the Radio Shack logo on it right there. Okay, this is just 60-40, and if you notice it says rosin core flux. What that means, rosin basically is it helps to clean the surface of the metal a little bit while prepping it for solder. It helps the solder itself to heat and stick to whatever surface you're on, in a nutshell. Sorry, I'm still not able to really focus a whole lot. Okay, so now that I've kind of pre-prepped all that, now what we'll do is we'll do the exact same thing, but now over here. Remember, ground, we don't touch, white and blue. So what I'm going to do now is take the solder. I'm trying to also do this to camera, which is making it also much more fun. So again, put a little bit of solder there, and then put it directly into where I'm going to be soldering. You can see how shaky I am. Geez, it's a fine tip there, but okay, so just a little bit of solder in there, and that should technically be enough to hold it. Now, okay, So now what I'm going to do is, and if you're watching on the wide shot and you're wondering why I'm doing this, this is me basically scraping off any excess off of the soldering iron with the steel wool. And by doing that, it's basically just keeping the metal clean. So that way when I add the solder and the flux and everything is allowed to work the way it wants to. Okay, so now this is ready to go. So what I'm going to do is find my cable, where in the world it went. Oh, what do you know? It's right in front of me. Again, can't think. So ground, white, and blue. The blue is going to go first. So I'm going to actually, because I'm trying to do this to camera, I'm going to try to reverse myself. See if I can do this backwards. Normally I go right-handed. Okay, we're gonna then heat this up. Heat this up. My coordination is totally backwards. Wow. What a terrible solder this is going to be. It's traveling all over the place, isn't it? You can tell my coordination is not there. You're probably looking at this saying, oh, you don't know what you're doing. Well, it looks that way, doesn't it? Well, I don't blame you if you believe that. But I'll put it to you this way. For almost 10 years, I've made every single cable. Oh, well, that's always helpful, too. You're not going to hold it very well, are you, either? Look at me. I have twisted everything up in there. Oh, this could probably use a bit of a tightening also. It's just totally wonderful. When I said I was handicapping myself, I meant it. Okay, well, that solder is all right. Now, the next one's going to be the white. White looks better. And I'm going to try... You know what? I'm not going to do that. Let's just get her done. Get her done. Trying to do it to camera is interesting, isn't it? Because I can't get where... Normally, I'd have it facing me, but I can't do that and still get to it. Hopefully... Geez, I can't even position it properly. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to see if I can grab... I have some tweezers right here. I know I said I was only going to limit myself to 10 tools, but I mean, I can't even solder at this point. I mean, my coordination's already that far bad and off. I got to be able to do it, you know? Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to. So let's do this. We'll put this right there. And let's see. All right, you know what? I got to do it. I got to do it anyway. I got to actually be able to grab the thing. I can't even grab it, even with the tweezers. So we'll do that. Enough wasting time. Let's just do this. I'm going to heat up the back side of it. Hopefully that will heat up the front side enough. Totally bad. But again, trying to do it to camera so it's totally off axis. Look at this. That is the shielding. I'm trying to keep away from it, and it's right in front of the camera. Okay. You know what? I can always touch this up later if I need to. Ground, white. Did I do that backwards? I sure did. Ground, white, and blue. You see, it should be ground, white on the other side, and blue down there. Man, you can totally tell that I'm not thinking at all. Let's do this again. Let this be known, people. I do not like this one bit. I'm so off my game. I'm so not having fun with this. I'm normally extremely detailed and very, very good about my soldering, and I take a lot of pride in it. But at this point, I'm so like thrown off mentally. I mean, come here. Okay, all right, right there. All right, ground, white, blue. I'm going to do blue first. That way, at least I know that it's been done. Again, going left-handed, which sucks. Well, that looks better than I expected it to. Okay, good. All right, there we go. I know this is really weird to say, but the gummy bear has actually caused burn inside of my chest. Like the very first thing that happened to me, probably because I'm not used to having spicy stuff anymore, is my body went into like a panic. In addition to the hiccups, my body my heart started racing, my nerves started shaking, my fight or flight reflex actually kicked in, and it was telling me, get out of there, run. I mean, I was like, what in the world is that going to help me? I mean, I could turn and run to the other room and listen to my wife and daughters tell me how much of an idiot I am for doing this. But I mean, that's not going to be any kind of help, is it? Okay. You know what? Let me just see if I can do this. This is so backwards. I may end up... that's totally backwards to me. I literally did it outwards. I'll at least check the quality of the solder here. Let me at least do that. Oh, that is terrible. Oh, that is terrible. No. That's not. All right, here we go. I have to be able to see it, guys. These limiting myself also hasn't really helped at all, because by limiting myself, I'm basically taking my ability to, which my heightened nerves that are completely shot anyway, I'm also not able to even do and accomplish what I want to, because tool-wise, I don't even have everything I need to. Okay. All right, so let's see if we can do this. I would normally want to tighten that a little bit, but that whole thing is just totally off. All right. Get in there. Come on now. Try to not damage the circuit board. If you're looking at it, there's a little bit of a circuit board in there, and that's what makes the EMC connector awesome. That circuit board is one of the things that helps reduce certain types of interference. Where's the reservoir? I can't even see this thing because it's so dark. Is it? Oh, it's on that side. No wonder. I'm going in totally the wrong side, trying to make this solder work. It's right there. Okay. Go in. Man, my nerves are so shot. I'm close to releasing the blue one, which is my only saving grace at this point, is that the solder on that one was actually done pretty well. Okay, so that's at least done. And let me just at least check it. It looks like it's in for the most part. Here's what I'm going to do. Just in the interest of moving forward with this, what I'm going to do is a not as good thing, especially with EMCs. You got to keep the solder points on the inside of an EMC, because if you don't, keep the solder on the inside of an EMC, you have a shield on the outside of it. You'll see in a second what I'm talking about. Okay, that's at least done. Let me give that a second, and I'm going to check the quality of the solder and probably reveal to myself that it is complete garbage. Could be better, could be worse. Honestly, it looks pretty bad. But here's what I'm going to do. This is one of the reasons why I found it very important to use the electric tape on this. I'm going to cut myself a tiny piece. Okay. And this little piece right here is going to be the thing that helps it protect from the shield. So if you look at this right here, I'm going to take this piece, wrap it around from the outside around to the inside, so that way I can press it upon itself. Gotta make sure that none of the little pieces of solder are out. Now I'm gonna, or not solder, but the braided shield. Geez, my stomach is killing me at this point. The heartburn has now gone away, and now my stomach is just in pain. It's so not happy with me for doing all of this and not eating before or having anything chasing it down drink-wise to make this a little better. Okay, so that's at least covered. And the reason why that's important is because you have these little shields. Oh, man. Oh, my stomach is so bothered by this whole process. Now, this goes around here. You see that right there? And then you would have another shield on the other side. Oh no, my chest is like starting to hurt again. Oh man. So this fits right around there. So that shield right there is supposed to keep the circuit board on the inside, or the and the oh no. Sorry guys. So this is helping to keep everything together. Brilliant. Okay. That's okay. It wasn't really ready anyway. Keep these so that way they can go around the outside. That little thing, that little gummy bear, man. It's hurting again. I don't know why. It's hurting again. Okay. Oh, man. So this is going to go on here. clip that down a little bit. Sorry, this is starting to burn again, which is why I'm starting to sweat again. Oh no, my nerves are totally shot. Okay. That's at least around. Huh. Great. I've actually cut the shielding back a little bit farther than I normally would want to. So, well, I gotta make it work, unless I want to redo this thing again. I think that's probably enough. It's enough. It's enough. All right, so from here, let's bring this on. And one of the things I always do is I press from the end. Get that in there. Right here. Okay. Sweating again. My stomach is now throbbing. It's like in panic mode again. I'm sweating again, if you've noticed. My body is literally in panic mode again. I don't know why. I don't know why this has happened. But it has. So, all right. Let's do the other side. All right. This side will hopefully be easier now that it's prepped. All right. Same thing on this side. It says 1 here, 2 here, 3 here. Well, we know that ground is 1 and 2 is it upside down? Let me see. Is it upside down? You gotta at least look at it. It's so low light in here. I do know this off the top of my head. What is it? On a male, when you look at it, that's 1. That's 1. That's 1, 2, and 3. So, all right. So when we're looking at this from this side, this is 1. That's 2. That's 3. So 1 is going to be our ground. So what I do is I'm going to use the helping hand to grab the 1. That way I can keep track of it. Okay. Now, when I'm trying to position this for soldering, you notice all the reservoirs are facing the same direction now, which is a good thing. On the EMC, it wasn't that way. I'm so wanting to like I'm second guessing myself here. Okay, good. That's right. All right. I don't want to end up having to do this again. I want to go downstairs and grab a big old glass of milk, but I'm not going to be able to do that until I finish this. I did not want to mess up. So ground is right here. White is there. Blue is there. So again, I'm going to start by pre-tinning the solder with solder. I keep saying pre-tinning. I mean, I guess it technically is pre-tinning. But I think the term is tinning. Honestly, I would know so much more if I didn't have my nerves starting to get shot again and have everything starting to go into panic mode. Fight or flight reflexes. Yay, you gotta love biology. Oh, goody. Let's have that light die on me now. Okay, so All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let that sit for a second, and I'm going to go grab an extension and see if I can make that work off of power, even though it's not designed to. All right, I'm now back. That's not something I was planning on doing, so I apologize about that. So we're still back where we were before, the tinning process right here. Get a little bit of this. You can tell my nerves are still shot. And that's because the gummy bear is totally disrupting everything. So if you're going to try one of these little nitro things, do yourself a favor. Do not have it on an empty stomach. Do not have it if you haven't had anything to drink in hours. Don't build it up in your system and make yourself all worked up about it. Don't do what I did. I was not looking forward to doing this. I don't know why. Why did I do it? Well, because I used to like spicy stuff. And I guess you could say there's some things about me that are still very much a little boy, still very much a teenager. And part of me always like, oh, you know what? I'm going to be fine if I do that. I can't even tin this thing. Look at that. How terrible is that? Oh, man, I am like totally all over the place with this. Oh, man. You can see I'm all over the place. Oh man. My nerves. Oh my gosh, my nerves. Oh man. I am shaking so badly. All right. Okay, ground, white, blue. Let's start with the white because it's on the far side. So I'm going to make sure that the white is oriented so that way it can go in easiest. Now because it's a little bit bigger, it should be easier to do. There we go. And that solder should look pretty good right there. There's your ground. And there's your white. Oh, geez, forgot I'm supposed to be doing this to camera. It's probably one of the reasons why it was a little easier to do. Oh, hopefully you're able to see something of that. Anyway, I did the white. I'll do the blue now. Now, if you notice, the reason why I left these two little bitty grounds on there is because once you get the white and the blue in position, you got to pick the ground that's easier to pull over there. In that case, it's going to be here. And I actually I prepped and cut way too much of that. So there's way too much coming off the end of the XLR. But anyway, I just cut through cutting off the excess of the grounding there. I should tidy this up just a little bit. Okay. Get rid of the wispies right there. Okay. Now, pre-tinning doesn't always work. It's not great to do on this kind of cable, and I'll show you that it's not great. See this? I'm at least going to do a little bit of it just because it's going to hold decently enough to at least allow me to put the thing in there, but it doesn't usually hold together all that well. You have to twist it together pretty tightly, and I did. All right. So from here, kind of audition the move a little bit, and can I at least get this one over there? All right, let's try this. Right there, get the solder hot. And, oh, my nerves. That's why it didn't go anywhere. Man, I need to be able to press with that right there. All right, so we'll do that right there. All right, try this again. Man. All my tinning is coming completely out. And this is overly hot on my hand. All right, come on, get in there. I'm going to try to do this one more too, camera. Usually when I do soldering, I actually use, I also use these tweezers. But I realized, I don't think I said it before, earlier when I grabbed for them, that was when my nerves were like freaking out. And they still are, but now they're actually, they're not in panic mode. They're just in normal ouch mode. So right here, I'm going to switch this over to grab over here, a little bit more stable, so we can get that ground in there, hopefully. All right. Okay. There we go. It's at least in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this steady. And just because I don't think that it's in there a whole lot, the ground, I'm going to add a little bit of a stronger bead to the ground just to make sure it stays. But you got to make sure that your hand is not going to move in the position. So I've got a little bit more solder on there, and I'm going to just apply it right there. Okay. Not pretty, but it's done. Now you can put shrink wrap around there if you're making sure it's really tidy. At this point, I've done that for like some people when I built their XLRs. I put tape or something on there to make sure that it would be pretty good. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to get this thing. Where is the boot? Okay, here is the compression. This here tightens around the XLR. You line it up so that way this little piece right there matches that little piece right there. Oops, there it is, right there. And now I'm going to thread this through here. Press it into position. Now, one of the things I always do is I grab the cable there as I'm sliding this up there, and I press in from this end here to the end that I'm screwing in while I screw it in. That's going to keep it, oops, it's cross-threaded. There we go, that's better. That way it can that way we can make sure that it's going in there really well. Okay, so not sweating anymore, that's a good thing. I'm not panicking anymore, that's a good thing. Now, the big question is, all right, get that thing all nice and tidy, or nice and tight. I have made such a mess here, and I'm not used to having a camera right here in my face. My overhead camera died a while back. All right, so now the moment of truth. This is when we see if we plug it up. Now, they always, when you plug it in, and oops, helps so I go in the right way. As soon as you first plug it in there, it's going to need to be reset. So, right there. Pin 1, pin 2, pin 3, and these intermittents right there would flash if you move it around and it breaks the connection at all. So I'm holding it in position there. Well, actually, I don't really need to on that one. Sometimes the positive goes out a little bit, like if I jiggle that enough, it may go out, but it's actually not. Okay, well, these look good. These seem really good. So since this was a brand new cable, I'll massage all the way down the cable just to make sure that it's good. And it actually looks really good. So the cable is complete. All right. There is now one less little nitro in the world because I have devoured it. I have removed the evil from the world. I hope you guys appreciate that because I would totally hate to have more evil in the world, especially in the form of a cute little gummy bear. There we go. So there is 2 versions of this video out there. There's the version that is the entire video. If you want to watch the whole thing and hear and see every little bitty aspect of me panicking and freaking out. Or the other option is you can watch just the pieced together version of this. I don't know which one you're watching right now, but if you're watching just the pieced together version of this, know that there is a longer version. You can watch this entire process and you can see me like literally stop every now and then, panicking, freaking out. You'll see all the, get out of my face, little thing. You'll see me go through the whole motions and everything. If you're watching just the pieced together video, the quicker video, then that's fine too. Anyway, thank you for watching this episode of Sound Speech, and be sure to tune in the future where I do more torturous things to my body while producing a wonderful little thing like this. And sound advice.
Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.